The 80s is basically peak supercar. Porsche, Lamborghini, Ferrari, all those guys were busy making bedroom wall fodder, cars that have gone down as the stuff of legend, but they are all European. What were the Americans up to then? Well, the Americans were building stuff like this, the Pontiac Tojan, or Tojan, or Tojan, I don't know. Look!
You'll be forgiven for having no idea that this was even a thing. I had no idea until TV presenter Paul Cowland bought it and gave me the skinny. Cowland is a huge fan of, in his words, naff F-body cars from the 80s, and the Tojan had been on his list for a while. Why? Because it was designed to fight Ferraris.
The idea behind the Tojan was pretty neat. You see, GM had seen what Ferrari and co were doing and it wanted something to take them on, but it wanted something that the blue-collar workers of America could afford. You know, have your cake and eat it too. The work was farmed out by GM to Knudsen Automotive, whose brief was simple: make us a world beater and make it cheap-ish.
The resulting car is a glorious slab of 80s-ness. The exterior isn't a simple body kit bolted onto existing panels. It was designed by Knudsen to be aero-friendly and was inspired by Ferraris of the era. You could even spec a ridiculous wing if you wanted one. Under the hood sat a tuned 5-litre or 5.7-litre V8. The springs and shocks were upgraded so, it could handle.
Inside, it is gloriously 80s. Look at the design of the thing for one, and we've got our big, wide, comfy seats for our big, wide, comfy Americans. A digital instrument cluster where all of the numbers I don't know what they mean. The rev counter's right in front of me. I thought initially it was just a broken digital clock. We have 0.7 increments of fuel. Out of what? Out of 100? Not good. Out of 10? Pretty good. It's just so 80s. The only way it could be more 80s is unless Molly Ringwald was being serenaded by a synth player who was also solving a Rubik's Cube.
So, that V8, 5 or 5.7 litres and tuned. The stock motor could manage a massive 200-ish horsepower, depending on what you did to it. You could spec extra bits for your Tojan to give it some extra kick if you wanted. This one is special because this isn't a customer Tojan. This is the prototype, which means it produces more than 200 horsepower, because this is powered by a twin-turbo boat engine and it kicks out 800 horsepower.
800 horsepower! 800! And in fact, with a different boost pressure on it, it would get over 900 horsepower, which is insane! It's insane for the 80s and it's insane for today, especially with 80s mechanicals and 80s rubber. Bits of me are puckering. Thankfully, I'm told that some of those horses have escaped the stable, but in period, this was confirmed to have done, this very car, it was confirmed to have done 206 miles an hour.
It's big, old, American, and not as quick as it used to be, but it's still a special thing. Only 136 Tojans were built, all to order, and compared to standard Trans Am, in Cowland's words, it's properly sorted, which is quite saying something.
There are some gears in there. Its owner, the lovely Paul, has no idea. Educated guess, about 4. You can tell when they're shifting because it just jolts you forward. The steering, well, let's see, we're going in a straight line. We're still going in a straight line and there is no movement from the car. It does feel quite fast. It does feel a bit soggy. The steering isn't great. The gears are a little chunky, but it's ridiculous. It makes a good noise and it's quite cool. I like it. It's special. It's special in being a bit naff, but very rare.
It's also something a bit more. There are little details like the angry Pegasus badge, the digital dials, the sheer outrageousness of it.
It's an experiment designed to see whether the likes of you and I could have something that could look Ferrari in the eye and have a decent crack. You don't get that nowadays. The closest you get to someone taking on the big boys is, well, a small track day special with a turbo 4-pot and a massive price tag. So really, here's to the Tojan or however you pronounce it. It's a ludicrous car
from a ludicrous decade.